MurderOfBirds actually reached out to me to watch this video. And this video is the missing piece of the Heavenly Principles, with a thumbnail pointing to Paimon. And Arnold is in chat right now for any questions, which I'm sure I am going to have a lot of. I am excited. This is one of my first times watching fully MurderOfBirds theory, bro. I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's go.
The Heavenly Principles, preserving the existence of the world and its inhabitants takes priority over protecting Sumeru.
Yep.
Wow. To the Heavenly Principles, preserving the world means more than preserving one nation. This isn't
Well, I think makes sense, right?
the first time this has happened. Nahid is basically saying we're on our own because the Heavenly Principles looks out for the needs of the many over the needs of the few. And
Yep.
when you compare the worlds, it's like long gone. Like long gone, Conria, it's like if you're just a nation, you'll rise and you'll fall in your own time. But you can't
True.
replace the world. You can replace the nations and the people. It's a very cold, calculated perspective and mindset. It's very
But it also lines up with everything that we've currently been going through as well, right? Especially with Lumine. And when I say Lumine, I mean the Abyss sibling, just as a heads up. And also with the Loom of Fate and reweaving the and restoring old Conriard and new Conriard, everything like that. You can preserve the people, you can preserve the place, but the world is an entirely
very
different
rooted
thing.
in logic, and that's just
Yeah.
how they operate, unfortunately. And that's
True.
probably why they're like an AI construct computer like system that doesn't have empathy or emotions. I'm gonna mention this right now because my video still isn't out yet. Chat, I want to share a theory with you guys
Well, it
that
is
I've
now.
been cooking up for a while. It's gonna be like a part 2 video to a theory that I did at the end of the Act 8 Arc Conquest. I want to say it before Hoyoverse confirms anything by the end
Ghost Rider allegations about to be confirmed?
of this
Question
Arc
mark?
Conquest, because I don't know what they're going to talk about, if they're going to talk more about the Heavenly Principles or the spaceship or whatever the case might be. I mean no exaggeration when I say this, okay? I mean this with every fiber of my being. I promise you, I'm not memeing.
Okay.
Aloy is like the most...
Where is this going, Arnold? Where is this going?
I promise you,
Don't
I'm not
laugh.
memeing.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Aloy is like the most important character in this game.
I will not laugh.
And if you've played Horizon Zero Dawn,
I have.
you'll probably know why.
I don't.
I'm not joking. No LMAOs. I'm being dead ass. Okay? And the reason, now let me cook. Let me elaborate. Let me explain myself.
Just because I find it funny right now does not mean that when you cook, I will not enjoy a fine dining 3-course meal, by the way.
Actually, you know what? I'm just going to tell you guys the whole theory right now. I feel like I can do a much better job, like, saying it off the cuff. This might be a separate video from this one. But, like, Aloy is the most important character in Genshin Impact. That's my opening statement. All right. Now, some of you guys, chat's already roasting me. They're like, Arnold, who let bro cook? Get out of here, bro. You fell off. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not going that far, but it is kind of funny.
Oh, I swear to God. All right. I know myself. I can see it, chat. I can perceive. I feel like I know what's going to happen. I feel like I know where we're going here. This is a follow-up to the theory video that I made back during Act 8 of the Nodcry Arc Conquest, when we learned about the spaceship and we got the lore from the Traveler's outfits regarding the potential AI construct of the spaceship, looking for a world for the Travelers and basically stumbling upon Tevat and cultivating, terraforming it, and using it as an arc for this genetic vault of humanity. In that video, we basically came to the conclusion that it seems like the Heavenly Principles is, in some way, shape, or form, some type of artificial supercomputer AI construct of our spaceship that landed onto that while our spaceship was flying through the universes. And in the meantime, while we were flying out in space, they were cultivating, controlling, seizing control of
getting the data, terraforming
that from the dragons, and reshaping it and terraforming it, not just for humanity, but for the twins' inevitable return onto that. So
wait, why is everyone say wait? Oh shit. I feel like this was the conclusion, right? Like this was an older theory for sure, but this was kind of what the, I don't want to say grand consensus was, But I'm not discrediting the original theory, by the way, at all, because, listen, without the theories, most people wouldn't even think about that. But when people had watched the theories and listened to the theories and stuff, that's what made the most sense.
Maybe they can be the new rulers. And then we started talking about Paimon. And something that I failed to mention in that video that I was cooking up for this theory is that Paimon is an anomaly in and of herself. There's only one of her. They're setting up so much foreshadowing of like who she is, her
Asmodee's freaking sister, or segment, at least. Like, when I say segment, I mean like the three deadly selves, soul split kind of thing.
Her identity, her memories. Is Paimon just Paimon? Is she emergency food? Are we going to end up devouring her like Nibirius got devoured by Daughter? Is there more to her in regards to the heavenly principles? Kukulkan referred to her as a celestial envoy. You got characters like Canotilla the Melazine saying that Paimon has like a rainbow freaking string going all the way up to the heavens, implying there's a lot of connections with Paimon and Celestia. Now, one distinction that I wanted to make is the difference between how we perceive the heavenly principles and how we perceive Paimon, because one
Paimon is Hades
theory, I have to find, I don't know where I said it in the video, but I remember mentioning how I was like, guys, I wonder if Paimon is like the heavenly principles globified, and like the shades don't disturb the heavenly principles because they're sleeping, but like maybe after the War of Vengeance, they got so damaged in that fight with Dragon King Nibelung that they like reverted down into like Paimon, and they like fell out of Celestia and they landed in the water, and then that's how the Traveler found them.
Yep.
But I literally, I'm guys, I mean this so fucking much. Every single thing, I feel like every single thing that has happened in this game has been by a specific design.
Of course it has. No, I 1,000,000,000% agree with this. Listen, a lot of people will give Genshin a lot of criticism when it comes to certain things that they do when telling the story, right? And a lot of that criticism is good criticism. I do feel like they could always show a little bit more and show things in a bit of a better way. They've been doing a banger job for No Cry, by the way. I have basically no complaints. But there's one thing that does annoy me a lot, and it's people that literally just say the Genshin story is bad. I'm very sorry here, but by design, no, it's not. It's a very subjective opinion, of course. You can never say it's just good or bad, but people that say it's poorly written are just wrong. Like, that is just an incorrect opinion. It is not poorly written. The story goes so deep, it has been going on for so many years. Things that were written about in 1.0 are just coming to light in freaking 6. Like, it is one of the most intricate stories woven, bro. It just is. Whether you like it or hate it, love it or hate it, that is such a hard fact to deny, dude.
Is involved in this design, Paimon's involved in this design, and it's all in regards to the Traveler. So my theory, as it stands right now, and I'm going to tie this all back. I'm
sorry, every time she comes on screen, okay. Okay.
I'm cooking right now. I'm going to set this all up, and it's going to tie all back in with Aloy specifically. I think Paimon is the idea association module. So if you go back and you read the outfit lore, it mentions while the AI construct was looking for worlds, they detached their AI association module. And they basically were like, okay, I can't be thinking about the fantastical possibilities. I need to be logic focused. I need to be...
So, okay, so you think that Paimon is that was detached. See, I assumed it was something in a pod that fit in the center here, but maybe that's just the design of the ship, I guess.
Logos. I need to be reason.
It could also be Paimon in the pod.
I have to think with a logical rationale when it comes to preserving the life that I have on my spaceship, maintaining that life for the future, and making sure that nothing happens to us once we find a world that we want. I think somehow, some way, I can't explain it, I think Paimon is the identity of the heavenly principles, where the heavenly principles is the reason and the logic, and Paimon is the emotion of the heavenly principles.
Law
and because they're
abides no
separated,
reason.
The heavenly principles is this heartless, cold, ruthless appearing like almost kind of like dictator that rules to that with the mindset of, yeah, but the numbers and the stats and the statistics say this, therefore it's the better choice. And they lack any type of empathy, emotion, and reason to consider the suffering of humanity, the suffering of the angels, the suffering of Conria, and to find some kind of middle ground, even when it comes to their earliest civilization, like with Long Gone and Zabai. They're like, well, the Abyss is going to kill you anyway. Better your nation than the rest of the world.
So you said something down here, which was, this can also explain what Paimon's simple-mindedness due to her separation from the Heavenly Principle's logic. Since you're in chat, it's going to be so nice to just pick your brain live when I can get your actual response here. I do like that. I actually really like that idea. I do. If Paimon was solely the idea association module and she is detached from logic and reason though, would you think she would still be able to show as much emotion as she does? I feel like she still shows a lot of emotion, especially panic over like the Traveler and stuff. Maybe it also makes sense that because she was, the idea association module was separated from the ship AI, Paimon is also terrified of being separated from ether. Paimon is the emotion. Okay, so you're saying she is the emotion separated from logic and reason. She would be the embodiment of emotion. Idea association correlates to emotion. Okay. So you said idea association correlates to emotion. Okay. See, this is why it's good to have you here live. Let me go back here a little bit and just listen to this part again.
Stats and the statistics say this, therefore it dictates, like almost kind of like this cold. They're separated. The Heavenly Principles is this heartless, cold, ruthless appearing like almost kind of like dictator that rules Teyvat with the mindset of, yeah, but the numbers and the stats and the statistics say this, therefore it's the better choice. And they lack any type of empathy, emotion, and reason to consider the suffering of humanity, the suffering of the angels, the suffering of Conria, and
well, they would still have the reason, right? The logic and reason, just not the emotion.
To find some kind of middle ground.
It might be wrong reasoning or, I guess, immoral reasoning.
Even when it comes to their earliest civilization, like with Long Gone and Zabai.
Okay,
like,
I get it now.
well,
I get it now.
The Abyss is going to kill you anyway. Better your nation than the rest of the world. So the Heavenly Principles is rooted in logic, and they lack emotion. Where is their emotion? Okay. Their emotion, somehow, some way, they detached, and then it took on a life of its own, I'm assuming. Now, I want to double up on this as well, because
Chat, I don't even think I got this far in the video, right? So I don't think I misheard. I just think I didn't let it play long enough.
It took on a life of its own, I'm assuming.
Hold on.
Now, I want to double up on this as well, because I'm trying to paint a coherent picture. Let's just say the Heavenly Principles arrives in Teyvat. They seize the world from the dragons. They wipe out the dragons. They re-terraform the world. Dragon King Nibelung comes back. The War of Vengeance is initiated. Nibelung dies, but before he dies, he deals a super heavy forbidden knowledge damage to the Heavenly Principles. Bam. And here's another thing too. Shout out to Hoyoverse and shout out to Nouvelette's character story lore when they said...
Yeah, the character story is great, but I think they did him dirty with this skin, bro. I didn't even get the skin, but like... I'm sorry. I prefer his OG skin. I feel like his skin could have just looked a little bit different. It just makes his head look weird and his legs. I don't know. He just looks off.
Severely wounded in the War of Vengeance, the usurper had their functions ruined. Functions specifically is a very like mechanical, technological term. It's very rooted in technology and computers and stuff like that. So that was like the earliest inkling that the Heavenly Principles is like some type of computer-based entity. That's probably from like a universe or a world that's like super ancient and advanced and is like nothing that Teyvat is. It's like...
What is this from? Is this from Miliastra? Because these look like mannequins. This has got to be from Miliastra, right?
From the perspective of that world, they appear to be a god, like compared to the primitive world of Teyvat with like dragons and like these random civilizations and whatnot. I think it is kind of alluding that the Heavenly Principles come from this computer-like civilization, and they left that world because of the Abyss, and their world was destroyed, and so they took whatever humans, quote-unquote, they had with the twins, and they searched for a new world. During the War of Vengeance, the Heavenly Principles were weakened, and they were like, fuck, my plan's ruined. I was supposed to defeat the dragons, take over the world, give humanity their purpose, and have everything right and perfect for when the spaceship came back and Aether and Lumine could come on the planet and they could rule it in you know, we can all rule it together. But Nibelung bodied the Heavenly Principles. And so the Heavenly Principles had to devise a new strategy. The Heavenly Principles, I feel personally right now that the Heavenly Principles are corrupted with forbidden knowledge, and they have been sleeping, similar to how like meditates to prevent like erosion. I feel like
what I have to ask you this, Arnold. I have to ask you this. I had the theory literally years ago, and it's the only theory video I've like ever made. I think now listen, I think Dainsleaf at the end of the Teyvat chapter storyline preview trailer when he's saying, "Show me that you are worthier than I to rescue her." I don't think he's talking about the Abyss sibling. I think he's talking about Asmodee. And I think Asmodee was good, quote unquote, if like from most people. I feel like her entire design was probably very blue before, like what we see in the pure kind of elements, right? And I feel like the red that we see in the cubes and also her arm, like data corruption, is forbidden knowledge corruption. And I feel like she's just corrupted. So I really feel like he's talking to the Traveler about Asmodee, and that our end goal is going to be to rescue her, to make sure the heavenly, to make sure everything is in order again, basically. Whether it's by purifying her or something else, I don't know. But what do you think about that? Do you think that she is corrupted, and that her original self maybe wasn't this big bad, like, fuck the world kind of, not fuck the world, it's kind of the opposite, but fuck everyone kind of thing, I guess? You feel like it could be Lumine, Paimon, or Asmodee. Oh, interesting. Interesting. But what is Dane's relationship to Asmodee? Well, we don't know fully yet, right? There's still... Hey, listen. There is still so much that we don't know about Dainsleif and Kamriar specifically, and there's going to be a whole chapter for that nation. We've seen time and time again in this game that characters have got relationships with other characters in the past that we had no idea about. Like, for a long time, we had no idea Lumine was working with the frickin' Piero at some point. We had no idea where she landed. There's so much. This is a very progressive story in the sense that new information gets brought to light pretty much every single 6 weeks. After the recent Dom and Port quest, I feel like Asmodee is deeply stricken with apathy at this point, so it at least feels like she's now a shell of her former self. I agree with that, 100%. I do. Definitely. Yes.
Similar to how like meditates to prevent like erosion.
So
the Heavenly Principles had to devise a new strategy. The Heavenly Principles, I feel personally right now that the Heavenly Principles are corrupted with forbidden knowledge, and they have been sleeping, similar to how like meditates to prevent like erosion. I feel like the Heavenly Principles is in some form of meditation or stasis to prevent the spread of forbidden knowledge. And so currently they're contaminated. They're corrupted, which is why when all of these things are happening, they're not waking up, they're not getting involved. It's literally they're incapacitated in their like celestial abode. So here's what I think they did. The Heavenly Principles decided, I'm going to create a fate system. I'm going to make all of these teleport waypoints using the technology of my spaceship, so when the Traveler comes back, they're compatible with those. Because I'm weakened and I can no longer protect the world from the Abyss, I'm going to create 7 Gnosis and initiate the Archon War. Through this system, 7 Archons will be appointed to watch over the 7 nations in my absence, and over time, their authority will be inherited by a select few in the form of visions as an additional way for humanity to protect themselves against the Abyss, with the most severe cases being resolved with divine nails. I'm going to make all of the nations utilize the elements, and I'm going to do it in such a way where when the Traveler comes back, they don't have to adapt to visions or a gnosis. They can just instantly tap into that power and use it on their journey. And
I actually really like that theory, but then what? They were just like, oh, and that Aloy character from Horizon looks pretty cool. Let's bring her as well. So I gotta keep going back to it. Arnold, do you play Arknight's Enfield by chance? Because I have an analogy, but it only makes sense if you play Arknight's Enfield. It'll crescendo with Aloy in a bit. No, I know. Also, no? God damn it. Okay, fair. I was thinking these things work similarly to the factory system in Arknight's Enfield, and it's like the freaking Heavenly Principles, basically, or the ship AI being the AIC, the main tower, which everything originates from. The statues of the 7 then being relay towers, where there's plenty of them put about where the main power sources go. And then in Enfield, they have electricity pylons, which is the minor power nodes, which could be the teleport waypoints. But it could also resemble, like you say, the Gnosis, and then go into, the Divine Thrones being the AIC, or again, Heavenly Principles, and then go into the Divine Thrones as the relay towers, and then going off of that could be the Gnosis and or the Allergenes, the Visions. It's also very interesting, and I would love you to make a video on this, Arnold. I need a compromised informative piece on visions at this point, based on everything we know in the game, because now that, especially now, because we know that they are contracts, and when a vision contract is fulfilled, it grants, what is it, like a little bit of power to the gods or something? It grants something, I can't remember, but it's something that not a lot of people talk about nowadays. I would love like a full informative piece on just visions and how they work and stuff. Now, it's not even necessarily Ascension to Celestia. It was, yeah, like power back to the gods with interest, basically. Yeah, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something like that.
And I think the purpose of the fate system, I'm going to put it in a way that makes a lot more sense, all right? For any of you guys who have seen The Wizard of Oz, think of fate into that. Think of fate like the yellow brick road. You can go off the beaten path, you can do this, you can do that, but you're always going to end up back. Stay on the yellow brick road if you want to make it to the Emerald City, and if you want to see the Wizard of Oz.
And if you want to drop a house on your sister.
I think the fate system was created, let me cook. I think the fate system, this yellow brick road system where you can change how the road is, but the road's destination has to stay the same. I think the fate system is created specifically for the traveler to be on this fate road. He goes to Mondstadt, he goes to Liyue, Inazuma, Sumeru, Fontaine, and he might be changing how the world is, he might be altering this or that, but the ultimate point of the fate system is for the traveler to reach the heavenly principles.
How about we explore the area ahead of us later?
But to do that,
I never want to hear that again.
The traveler going to do that? They're going to end up in Teyvat. They're not going to know anyone. They're not going to know anything. So here's what I think the Heavenly Principles did. They took their idea association module. That idea association module became Paimon, and then they just dropped her into that. This perfect guide lands in the exact spot where the traveler is. And Paimon's goal is to lead the traveler to Celestia. And you're probably asking, well, why is the whole point of that? I think it's because if the Heavenly Principles is wounded with forbidden knowledge, they need to be purified. But you can't just instantly have the traveler just show up there. He's got to go on the journey. He's got to find his way through.
Build tolerance even, right? If the meaning of our journey is to purify the nations of the abyss, not to save the world, but to save Asmodee, show me that you are worthier than I to rescue her, or the AI in general, the Heavenly Principles, that would also make sense, right? Build up your tolerance, show what you're made of. I guess that is a cool little tidbit. Arnold, curious here. One thing I really liked about Natlan was the Little Guy quest line, right? And I really enjoyed how the entire Little Guy quest line felt like Little Guy was our guide, right? Leading us to the final destination. But right at the end of that journey, the story was flipped on its head when the freaking dragon sage, I forget his name now for some reason, Kukulkan, that's it, yeah, basically told us, the traveler, that was not the case. It was actually us, the traveler, that were guiding Little Guy to his ending place. I'm curious what you think about that possibly paralleling the traveler and Paimon's journey through Teyvat, and Paimon is not the best guide in all of Teyvat. Want to call on Discord? I'm down real quick.
Okay,
can you hear me? All right, sweet, I can hear you. All right, yeah, do you think there's a chance that they could be paralleling that?
I don't know if it's necessarily like a parallel to that. I actually think it would be maybe a little bit more appropriate to say that Little Guy's journey is paralleling our journey with Paimon, if that makes sense.
I think that's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misinterpreted then.
Or maybe I'm just not looking deep enough. What do you mean by
either,
it?
You know, either or. Yeah, I like it's like a region-based one-on-one like companionship journey. Like there was definitely like you said, like a twist at the end where it's like, oh wait, this journey is actually going, like it's gonna have a potential like bad ending for our Little Guy, and then like with the Flame Lord's blessing and Kukulkan being like, oh by the way, there's a detonation button that gives you the bad ending. So I do talk a little bit about like what the end game might be like for Paimon and the Traveler in this video. So
nice. Okay.
So yeah, I was definitely cooking, but yeah, someone in the chat was like, hey, you could probably this is another thing too, just in general, like I'm terrible at like communicating in text, like or like keyboard. So like if you ask me a question, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna take me forever to form my thoughts and respond. So just being able to directly answer your questions is like way better.
Perfect. All right, sweet. I'll drop you a message next time then.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, I will continue the video, and then we'll finally get to your Aloy.
cook. I'm spitting right now.
I believe it. I believe it.
I promise.
All right. Catch you soon, man.
All right.
All right. Let's I can't wait to get to this Aloy part, bro. I really can't. Everything's adding up to the chef's kiss moment.
For the truth,
Let's go.
That's on you to find out. If you were told the truth instead of discovering it yourselves, it would literally blow your minds. I don't know how you'd be after that.
And the Traveler, as they've obviously like mentioned more and more ever since Natlan, the Traveler can purify the abyss and corruption and potentially forbidden knowledge. So I think the Heavenly Principles created the Fate system specifically for when the Traveler comes back to Teyvat and planted Paimon in that exact same spot so the Traveler can meet Paimon, and Paimon can take the Traveler to all 7 nations and eventually Celestia, where the Traveler can then heal their AI construct. What happens?
Yes. I really like that idea. Now, again, I don't want to keep asking too many questions here, but I'll just say what I like the idea of, and you can agree or disagree, I guess. I like the idea that the Traveler's not just purifying the abyssal energy, but he's absorbing the abyssal energy, right? Which also means if he can eventually, or is already purifying forbidden knowledge, that he's also absorbing forbidden knowledge. Which kind of goes hand in hand with what I was thinking before, which is, I think that is our end goal right now. I do think we have to go purify things and fix this current version of Teyvat. However, if the Fatui get their way and this works and the Irminsul tree is burned and everything, if they really do burn the old world and start like a new world order, for lack of a better term, I like the idea that the Traveler would then use the Loom of Fate to basically reweave Fate as a new planet, basically. Like, not Teyvat, or at least in a different bubble. Like, this Teyvat would exist then permanently, just under Fatui rule or whatever. And I like the idea that, and this is definitely the most crack theory I've had, where, again, Teyvat is indeed an arc, technically. And we create a whole new world with all of the stuff that we've gathered on our journey. I think we still have a branch from Nahida even, right? Or something that could be used as to grow a freaking Irminsul-esque thing or something. But not just that, obviously. We've learned a lot on our journey, which we could then use to basically recreate an entire new planet. Give the Abyss their own world so they can stop hating. True, bro. True. I agree. I say fuck it, bro. Let's just join them. But no, I like the idea. I like the idea that the new world that we create could indeed be the Field of Flowers and stuff. I like to go back in my mind and think that maybe Paimon could indeed become the new, like, welcome moon for our planet, right? The rainbow balloon with a string that extends beyond the firmament, meaning that she is anchored to a different planet, not Teyvat, which could be our future planet, because the Melazini see the truth. I don't know. Like, that's the sort of stuff that I like to think about that is pure crack theories. And I mean, like, pure crack theories. There's obviously a lot more well-grounded theories like this, but I love the odd crack theory, bro, and I love to make them like actual hardcore crack theories.
After that, I couldn't tell you. Now, the reason that I say
Here we go.
that Aloy is the most important character of this game, drumroll please. If any of you guys played Horizon Zero Dawn, you guys might know this, but that is what I just explained to you. That is the plot of Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn in ages, and I never played its sequel. I haven't played its sequel yet, but I'll give you the abridged version. So long story short, in Horizon Zero Dawn, there are these robots that got hacked, and these robots were able to basically self-fuel, self-function, self-repair, and they eventually became this unstoppable mechanical, like, nightmare that was slowly causing the extinction of all life on Earth. So a group of scientists were like, hey, we can't stop this threat, so everyone's gonna die. However, we can create this super AI computer that will be able to solve the problem hundreds of years from now. If we create the right parameters, if we create the right system for this AI construct to be able to save humanity, we'll die, but our efforts will lead towards a future where humanity is saved and we don't go extinct.
He's right. He's right. I'm sure he's going to say more about this, but this isn't just ether that's going to be important. It's the fact that they're also named after certain, deities and or... We'll see.
Woman, Elizabeth Sobek, created the Gaia AI, which was basically an AI that had a bunch of sub-functions. And all of these sub-functions were utilized to find like a trial and error system of like finding the best scenarios and the best situations where they can provide sustainability for the planet. They could regroup and recreate humanity from the ground up. And if there were any issues, they could like reset everything and start over again to eventually hack into this giant
Samsara
machine army and delete them and then save humanity at the same time. Think about it this way. The Gaia AI from Horizon Zero Dawn is the Heavenly Principles. The sub-functions of Gaia in Horizon Zero Dawn are the shades. Apollo, Hephaestus, Aether, all of these Greek and inspired sub-functions. And then you have Nibirius, Renova, Istaroth, Asmodee, who are sub-functions to this overarching AI as well. You have Elizabeth Sobek, this person that started the project hundreds of years ago, but she created a clone of herself that eventually became the main character, Aloy, in the game. And Aloy went on this journey, similar to the Traveler, to understand...
Dude, holy shit. If they... Listen, Hoyo cooked for years upon years upon years. If they actually, like, fully intentionally did this collab because it mirrors the story so well, I am gonna be so fucking surprised. You'll have no idea. You'll have no fucking idea.
And discover the origins of her creation, the purpose of her creation, and that ultimately she was the one that had to save the AI program. She had to save Gaia the same way Aether has to save the Heavenly Principles. And so I literally think that's what's gonna happen. And Aloy was the best character for, and I think Hoyoverse did that intentionally. I think Hoyoverse quite literally introduced Aloy into the game because her plot is a parallel of Genshin.
Okay, they could have made it fucking better though. Surely. Right? They could have done something else with this motherfucker. Or at least give a fucking constellation.
It's just, you know, Tevat seems more of like a digital framework world because the Heavenly Principles is a computer. And so the best world they can create is a computer digitized world in and of itself. And so that's my theory. That's the...
Okay, dead ass though. Okay, you cooked. You cooked. That is a really interesting theory. I cannot lie. I'm gonna let you cook for the next 10 minutes of the video.
That I've been cooking in my brain for the last, what, 6 months? Ever since Act 8 of the Art Conquest?
Wild.
I think Aloy was the earliest sign of that. I think Aether's entire journey isn't about finding their sibling. Actually, it might be. And I think Lumine knows. But Lumine, I don't think Lumine can purify the Heavenly Principles, which is why she needs Aether to go on this journey.
Yeah, I think Lumine also knows. I mean, she said herself, right? If I'm not remembering incorrectly here from We Will Be Reunited, she's already been through this journey. We have to go through it ourselves to learn the truth of the world.
And come to the conclusion himself. But at the same time, if you remember, in the A Space and Time for You Art Conquest, Aether's crashing out. He's like, Lumine, why are we doing this? What does any of this have to do with us?
It's always been about us, baby. It's always been us.
And she says, it has everything to do with us.
Yeah. Always been. Me and Min spoke about this at length in one of our videos, bro. Because I brought this up. I rewatched it and I was like, it makes so much fucking sense now. It's always been about us. Oh, it's only ever been about us, I think she says, specifically. Yeah, it's only ever been about us. God damn! God damn! Imagine the Loom of Fate here is actually created just using the two siblings' DNA somehow, and that's why there's two of them and it looks like a scroll. That'd be weird, right?
It's our spaceship AI that created this world in the first place, and they did it for us. So this is kind of our problem that we have to somehow fix. Now, I can't explain anything regarding, well, how does Lumine tie into this? Like, how does she connect with this? See, I'm only explaining where my mind is at right now.
Well, I think it's also, it's all you really can explain. At the end of the day, there is a lot of crack theories you could definitely come up with for the Abyss sibling, Lumine. Again, I'm going to refer to her as. You can only come up with so much stuff because we have very bare minimum information on her. We really do have no idea why she's decided to do the majority of things she's done, because she gives us nothing, Queen. She gives us nothing, and that is definitely a purposeful thing. They don't want us to know. They want that to be a grand reveal, just like the Dotori stuff. Abso-fucking-lutely. And it will blow our minds, probably, because every time we get a little bit of information, it already does blow our minds. They are feeding us scraps, 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 crumbs, crumbs. You ever seen Family Guy, where they lure that guy into a fucking box with bits of candy, and he's like, ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. That's us with any fucking Abyss sibling lore. And then when we get trapped in the box, we're like, whoa! She's alive! Like some weird shit.
In regards to the Traveler, I can't go any further than that. I literally think that's what the whole journey is about. I think the Heavenly Principles just did the best they could with the situation that they had. They didn't do it the best way because they don't have emotions.
Yeah.
They only have logic and rational thinking. And
that's genuinely my favorite part about your entire theory, that Paimon is the idea association module and she is the emotion that was separated from the AI, and that's why they did what they did. My only question will be, why they do that? Like, why did they decide, fuck the emotion, bro? Send that shit down. But maybe you mentioned that earlier and I got to go back and rewatch.
And facts and logic, and that's about it. And, you know, when you have a ruler that thinks like that, they pretty much, like, empathy and the suffering of others is not even at the top of their mind, especially when you consider how they're treating Nahida in this whole situation with her in particular.
It makes decision making easy, yeah, but since it had the idea association module attached, right? Because I agree with you, it does. But since they had that attached, would the idea association module not be fighting that and being like, don't disconnect me, things will go bad, you know? Would it not be trying to convince, like, maybe it was a war within itself to detach it. You're right, it definitely could be.
That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. That is the Genshin Impact theory. That is my I think I know how Genshin Impact is going to end theory. And here's the ultimate revelation. I think the game will end when Paimon and the Heavenly Principles
merge. You think she is the emergency food still?
Go back to being one. Maybe even the Shades too, because the Shades were
emergency food would make sense, by the way. Plug her back in, everything's fixed.
Created, they were shining shades of the Heavenly Principles. So similar to how all of
No, I mean, yeah, right? Technically would still be a form of emergency food.
The AI constructs of Gaia had to work in tandem to come to a solution. I think Rhine-Daughter, or rather, I think Nibirius, Asmodee, Renova, Istaroth, and Paimon, who all came from the Heavenly Principles, will have to return to the Heavenly Principles, which means that is when we will have to say goodbye to Paimon. That is why they're constantly mentioning, well, actually, when you think about it, if they go back to the AI and the AI is like fixed up and is back in the spaceship, technically, when you think about it, Paimon has always been with us. Actually, I just thought of that. If this is actually true, and if Paimon is a part of the Heavenly Principles, then like Paimon is never... We've always been with Paimon.
What do you think of Barbalot's fate scrying on Paimon when Paimon asked her directly, what does her future hold? And she basically goes, oh, child. Like, it's not looking fucking good, bro. Chill. And then it just cuts to black. What do you think she fucking told her, bro?
She was the spaceship AI, and then she became her own thing into that, and we've been with her ever since. It's gonna feel like goodbye, but it's just goodbye in a different way. I also don't know if the Heavenly Principles are gonna survive and be reconstructed to be, or maybe they need Paimon. Maybe they need Paimon to be their true ideal self. Maybe they'll be a lot better of a ruler and a lot better of a god than what they are now if they...
I think so, and I think that is the emergency food situation. We got to plug her back in, bro.
Had some empathy and emotion on their side, and some, like, I don't know, give them some food and some purpose, like Paimon, you know, like if they had a little bit more of Paimon's perspective, or maybe Paimon would be the replacement for the Heavenly Principles. I think that's a possibility too, because Paimon went to the academia. She's getting smarter and smarter and smarter as time goes on. She's almost...
Ooh, becoming a replacement, because she's not just an emotional module now. She's actually learning. She's learning reason. She's learning logic. Ooh. You think she could be the replacement? Do you think she could be the Nahida to Rukkhadevada? Oh, Paimon's going to be the Nahida to HP's Rukkhadevada. Yeah, do you... Oh, shit. Could she be reverse globifying instead of when a god uses like a majority of their power, they shrink to a smaller form, could this smaller form, which was purely emotion, be learning throughout their journey to become a much bigger thing? Because there is also things in the game and lines in the game where Paimon has said she's going to become like 3 times the size of 3 mountains. Could that be that she is going to grow as an entity into something way bigger, way stronger, way more important and impactful to the entire plot? That could be very interesting.
I feel like if her logic reaches the level of the Heavenly Principles, it's almost like, I feel like she can almost replace them, and she can maintain Teyvat. She can maintain Teyvat because she's been on the journey.
Bro said we're doomed if she's the replacement.
She's seen how it's functioned, and maybe the Heavenly Principles isn't long for this world. The forbidden knowledge corruption is going to last for so long, and Aether has to get there and take control and reweave the threads of fate for the best possible outcome. And if we decide to leave this world, the world will need a new ruler if the Heavenly Principles are gone. And I think Paimon would be the next best option, especially if she is a part of the Heavenly
Travelers as bro.
Principles. So, yeah, I wasn't planning on divulging my long-awaited big brain theory, but that is how I think Genshin Impact is going to end. If I'm wrong, well then I think I came up with a pretty substantial theory that
look at his face, dude. Look at his face. It's like he said in chat about 5 minutes ago. He was like, "What did you say, Arnold? Like, this is a crack theory, and this is just for fun. But if I'm right, I cooked. Like, if I'm right, it was intentional."
Yeah, I spoiled the whole game. I'm sorry.
If I'm right, I think
at the end of the game, maybe the Heavenly Principles or Paimon will use Aether's memories and all of the things he's witnessed and experienced to recreate Teyvat from the perspective of the Traveler. So, or even the Traveler. Like, I think the whole point of the Heavenly Principles was like, we want to terraform this world so that way Aether and Lumine can rule it. And maybe Aether just needs to get the freaking admin password and seize control of the world and then recreate it in his image. Or Lumine.
Oh, I like how we're actually on the same page about that. Yeah. But when you say recreate, do you mean like this specific planet? Like, do you think we're going to recreate Teyvat right here where it is using the Loom of Fate? Or do you think we're going to make a new planet in the vast galaxy somewhere? I guess if we go based off what the Heavenly Principles said in the past, right, this is the perfect prime location and perfect prime planet anyway, so why not take advantage of it? But then what about the people that already exist on it and the places that already exist on it at the same time? You never considered a new world? I really like the idea of a totally new world. And the main reason is that one Melazine that's like Paimon is a freaking rainbow balloon with a string that extends beyond the firmament. Because I really like to think she is the anchor to the new world that we are going to create in the future. But there's a few other reasons for it. I'm sure there's probably a lot of reasons why we couldn't do that, but I just really like the idea of saying this world is too far fucking gone. The whole Teyvat is an arc theory being true, and us taking the Allergenes and other humans to a new place, or at least all the people that we could. I like to think of things like the Fontaine Archon quest kind of precursoring that with the arc, saving people from Fontaine as well. But we'll see. It could be a lot of different things.
In her image, depending on which traveler you have. Yeah, I'm really sorry for going off on a tangent like that.
Tangents are
suck
fun,
at
man.
writing scripts, and I think this was the best way for me to get my thoughts out and share them with you guys, because I'm really, like, I couldn't find a better way to talk about that. Like, I couldn't script that out. The best way I can talk about it is if I have an audience, I can talk until the cows come home. It's already 10:30 my time.
You have cows? They're expensive.
Yeah, this will be its own dedicated video, and I'm gonna make it a big deal, and I hope that I'm right. And I've been thinking about this for the last 6 months, and this will be a follow-up to the previous video, like I said. And all of that because the Heavenly Principles is like, yeah, Sumeru, sorry, bud, nothing personal. I abandoned all my nations, so it just seems like you're next. If the world's not at risk, then that's got nothing to do with me, Chief. And so, you know, it is what it is. I don't know if Horizon Forbidden West, like, adds on to this even more, but this is just all from my perspective of playing Horizon Zero Dawn, because I
can't believe this started from a fucking Aloy theory.
I haven't played Forbidden West, and I played Horizon Zero Dawn when it first came out on the PS4, so my memory is a little fuzzy, but like, Aloy was the first character that I thought of. I was like, wait, I've experienced this before. Holy shit, how is no one talking about this? I have to tell everyone.
I never put 2 and 2 together with that. Genuinely, I never did. And I'm kind of mad that I didn't, because I did play Zero Dawn all the way through to the end. And I also never played Forbidden West.
Aloy from Genshin Impact, actually. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my theories. I hope it comes true. If it is, you heard it here first. I will not be surprised. And I wanted to get this out
Now, don't get it twisted, chat. When he says Aloy is the most important character, I'm assuming, I don't think what he's saying is she's most important to the current story, but she's important to us as players. She's important for our understanding of the story if it is a direct parallel to what happened in Horizon Zero Dawn. I just don't want people being like, well, she's not, just because she fucking did the same shit doesn't mean she's gonna do it in Teyvat or some stupid shit. I know people could be very annoying with semantics.
Before we get any more lore, Luna 7 is not out yet. We just got the Luna 7 special program today. It is May 8th, 2026, 10:30 a.m. So people don't come out the woodwork and is like, he looked at leaks. He knew about this. How does he know? You're not smart enough to know this. You had to look at leaks to know the truth of the game years before it ended, damn it. So I wanted to get ahead of all of that nonsense.
It's not even leaks, bro. You're just employed.
Just to prove I have receipts. And so everyone knows when when or if this happens. I'm not a ghostwriter.
I saw that far. Not a ghostwriter. Yeah, sure, buddy.
Damn it.
Sure.
So
you'll tell
I
us
wanted
anything.
to get ahead of all of that nonsense just to prove I have receipts. And so everyone knows.
Yeah, you'll tell. I see this. Right, look, clock calculator, LinkedIn. You know what he goes on LinkedIn for? To update his references because he's a ghostwriter at Hoyover. See this file down here? 6234566. If you put that into coding and then translate it in this file right here, it is actually the entire script of Genshin Impact from day 1 all the way through to 8.0.
When or if this happens. I'm not a ghostwriter, by the way.
Not fooling me.
Just too big brain. I'm only big brain in 2 things: Ruby and Genshin Impact. Like I'm like 3-head with everything else in life. Somebody was like, man, Arnold, how do you remember so much lore about Genshin? It's like, because I don't know anything else. You know that episode of SpongeBob? It's like he only knows fine dining and breathing. It's like I only know Genshin, Ruby, and breathing. I don't even remember my name half the time. Yeah, I attribute it to having very questionable priorities in life. I couldn't tell you anything about my country's lore, but I'll yap your ear off about lore from a fictional video game that I've been playing for 6.5 years. I can tell you everything, everyone, their backstory, their lore, where they come from, their favorite snack, what they're afraid of, everything. I don't.
Do you know what Lisa's afraid of? Working? No, pumpkins. Genuinely, I had no fucking clue, dude. I had it in a quiz. I thought Duck was making it the fuck up, bro. She's scared of pumpkins. The witch scared of pumpkins?
I don't know, man. You know what's funny about that too? I was built in the Ruby mines. I attribute my ability to break down, analyze, remember, connect all facets of lore from Ruby, because Ruby was like a homework show. I know that's.
I actually thought Ruby was the, like, red and blue Master Chief looking ass characters from Rooster Teeth. I think it was Rooster Teeth anyway, or Achievement Hunter. That was red versus blue. I really did for the longest time.
Sounds like, oh god, that sounds horrible to some people. But, like, Ruby gave a lot of references and inspirations to, like, fairy tales and works of fiction and references and stuff. So one of the fun parts about Ruby, a cool way to understand the show was to understand the inspirations behind the show. So, like, whenever you got a new character, everyone was like, okay, who's this character inspired by? Oh, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast, and it was like a meta game within the show.
Okay,
and so I feel like
Genshin
is almost like that too. Like,
I
don't play it like a meta game. I treat my research and how I like interpret the lore like how I did with Ruby back then. So like, yeah, Ruby like prepared me for Genshin, unbeknownst to me at the time, which is hilarious. Heavenly Principles, they're just like, you know what? If you don't kill the planet, I don't really have a problem with what you're doing. I'll throw
a couple of nations here or there. Fuck it, bro.
Down some divine nails. You guys will be. That's crazy.
I'll
throw down some divine nails. 'Tis but a flesh wound. You'll be fine. All right. The world will heal. The world will move on. Sure, you might lose some gods and some lovable characters and a beautiful nation and all the gorgeous music that you listen to while you go through that nation. Your shroom buddies might get killed. Yeah, the desert's already fucked, but you know, I gave up on that ages ago. You know, all of that might be gone, but you still got everything else. So like in the end, it's kind of worth it. You know, that's how the Heavenly Principles is kind of moving these days, which is insane. And you know what the craziest thing is? They don't even realize. You realize your freaking dirty laundry is going to be aired out for the entire world to see if this tree gets destroyed, right? You know that before?
True. This is what a lot of people don't understand, bro. A lot of people do not understand this. Listen, we only know of a few things that have been obfuscated by Irminsul. We only know of a few things. What about all the stuff that happened before we lost our fucking memories, bro? What about all the shit that happened way back when? What about the stuff that these motherfuckers hid from everybody? I guarantee you the Hexen Circle have probably hid some fucked up shit. I guarantee you the Shades have hid some fucked up shit. And I guarantee you, the fucking Archons have hid some fucked up shit. There is going to be so much that comes to light if this thing actually burns. It's going to be crazy.
Sun and Moon book that Orobashi got killed for reading, that's going to be peanuts compared to this tree. If this tree gets nuked and like the truth of this world is revealed, like you're going to have an army, an angry mob at your doorstep. If that's what happens, if the world gets factory reset, I don't even know what that's going to mean for this world, because if it gets factory reset, I'm like, we're
gonna find out that Fatui started hantavirus or something.
Is the light realm energy gonna move in and destroy all the freaking people? Because they're incompatible with that energy. It's a lot, man. It's a whole big mess. I mean, again, this is nothing new with the Heavenly Principles. It just sucks that like Nahida's like, we're on our own, guys. The Heavenly.
Did you notice how she's looking a bit wilted as well? By the way, I said this before, but in the trailer, her leaf is looking mighty contrastless, colorless. It's looking like it's dying. Oh no, great video, dude. Holy shit. Wait,
Principles doesn't give a shit about us.
Gotta give it that extra 2 seconds of watch time. Great video. Holy chat, absolutely amazing video. Holy goddamn. As much as I love watching multiple different theory crafters like Ashikai and stuff that pull from real world inspirations and stuff, my favorite type of Genshin Impact theory content is when a theory begins and ends all within the confines of the game with everything in between, where we don't pull from random stuff that happened in a different game. The Aloy stuff's different because she's actually in Genshin, and that was the funnest like little segment of the theory. I just prefer it when everything is centralized to the game itself and I don't need to think about real life stuff. I can just think about the game and what's happened so far. I fuck with that so heavily, and I really appreciate those theories a lot because they're much easier for me to digest personally. So I really like that theory a lot. And hey, YouTube, leave a comment if you would like to possibly see MurderOfBirds in one of the lore chats with me and Min, because that could be very fun as well. Build your Aloy chat? Hell no!